Hello, this is Kitty. A while ago, I put together a mini workshop for myself and a couple of friends to get ourselves out of the rut. And I've decided to put the workshop on the internet this Christmas so that it's my little way to bring a little bit more energy and joy to more of my friends. The whole workshop only takes perhaps 40 minutes to complete. All you need is something to write with, and I have also created a worksheet so that you can use to follow along. The first step of the reset plan is to paint a picture of what your life might look like in 5 years' time if you were to be extremely unhappy. When I first sat down to plan my life and business goals for next year, I was having a real hard time. It was because I was feeling uninspired and sluggish. I didn't have much energy to complete what I started for this year even. And this question came: what would my life look like in 4 years' time if I were to be extremely unhappy? When I did this step with my mom, she asked whether we were using our fears to motivate us. For me, this is a step of self-confrontation. All of these fears are already inside of us, whether we acknowledge them or not. So when we sit down to say hi to them, essentially we are telling ourselves that these are my fears. I am scared because I am human, and that's okay. And I am scared because I care. I am facing my fears now so that I can take better care of my future. The first step is to write down your fears, knowing that it's okay to have them and knowing that they don't have to be our reality. The second step of the plan is evaluation. In this step, we are coming out of our fears and revisit our past year. Okay, so there are 2 columns. In one column, write down the events, habits, people, and decisions that have contributed to your well-being. And in the other column are those that drained your well-being. So, looking at your anti-vision and your evaluation columns, what patterns can you discern? Spend a few minutes to ponder about this and write down your conclusions as well as hunches. In this exercise, what we're doing again is confronting ourselves. So it's very important to have some healthy self-trust. Trust that no matter what self-sabotaging decisions we've made in the past, we can learn to live well. And for me, I realized that I made decisions that I didn't like. I was developing anxieties, but it was due to an underlying self-disappointment because I wasn't living to my utmost wishes and possibilities, or at all. So I knew that if I were to continue, I would spiral into insanity. Step 4. Values. This is a very important step that the other 3 steps have prepared us to do. In this one, we're asking ourselves, what kind of person do we want to see ourselves as? We're making 5 tables. Each table will represent a value in our life. When I say value, I'm thinking of personality traits. Traits like bravery, compassion, grit, authenticity. After choosing a value you wish to keep in your life, write down at least 4 ways you can incorporate that value into your daily life. Make sure it's specific, measurable, and actionable. What I'm trying to do with this workshop is, rather than focusing on the resolutions and what to do, I'm focusing on what to be, what matters, what values do we want to stand by, and how do we want to live every day. The pattern that I learned from this exercise for me specifically was that I was already living the nightmares of my future. I was afraid that I would not grow, that I would keep staying in my comfort zone. So I was afraid of the continuation of this version of myself. So at that time, I could safely conclude that I didn't really live up to my own values, that I was quite unaligned. But that's okay. There's no point in beating myself up. I wouldn't want to be a violent partner to my own self. So what I did was I patted my wounds and realigned myself with the questions in this workshop, and I changed. Part 2 of this video, I will introduce several systems that will make sure that we are in touch with these values in our daily life. Final agenda from Kitty. I am creating a community on Patreon. I will host a new party regularly so that we would have a community to reflect on life and values with. If you find this activity meaningful to do with a community, there is a link below. And my final message is,